The restaurant was quiet except for the soft clinking of cutlery and low business chatter. Daniel adjusted his worn uniform and took a deep breath before approaching the corner table. As a single father, this night shift mattered. Every tip helped pay rent and school fees for his young daughter waiting at home. At the table sat three sharply dressed men, one of them clearly in charge. Victor Hale, a billionaire investor known for crushing deals and people alike, barely glanced up as Daniel poured water. When Daniel's hand trembled slightly, a drop spilled. Victor smirked, his eyes cold and amused. "Careful," Victor said loudly. "I don't pay for clumsiness." His companions laughed softly. Daniel apologized calmly, though his face burned. He had learned long ago that pride was a luxury he couldn't afford. He simply nodded and stepped back, reminding himself why he endured this. As Daniel returned with their meals, Victor continued to mock him. "You look educated," Victor said. "Funny how life turns out, doesn't it? From dreams to serving tables." The words stung, but Daniel remained silent. His daughter's smile flashed in his mind, giving him strength. What Victor didn't know was that Daniel had once worn tailored suits, too. Years ago, he had been a rising financial strategist, respected and feared in boardrooms. But when his wife died suddenly, Daniel chose his daughter over ambition, stepping away from a ruthless corporate world. Back then, Daniel had helped structure several major mergers, including early groundwork for a company Victor now desperately wanted to acquire. That knowledge stayed locked in Daniel's mind. Unused, but powerful. Tonight, fate had placed him inches away from the man who once rejected his ethical warnings. The discussion at the table grew heated. Victor's deal was stalling. He slammed his hand down. "They're hiding something," he snapped. "The numbers don't add up." His advisors whispered nervously. Millions were at stake, and the deadline loomed dangerously close. As Daniel cleared plates, he overheard a key detail. Victor misunderstood a regulatory clause tied to the acquisition. Daniel hesitated. Speaking up could cost him his job. Staying silent could cost Victor billions. He thought of his daughter and the values he wanted her to learn. Quietly, respectfully, Daniel spoke. "Sir, forgive me, but the clause you mentioned applies only after fiscal restructuring. If you proceed now, the risk doubles." The table froze. Victor stared at him, anger flashing before curiosity replaced it. "And how would you know that?" Victor demanded. Daniel met his gaze steadily. "Because I helped design the framework when the company was still private," he said calmly. One advisor's eyes widened. Another pulled out a tablet, quickly checking facts. The silence stretched. Victor's mocking smile disappeared. "Your name," he said slowly. Daniel gave it. Recognition flickered across Victor's face like a ghost from the past. He remembered, rejecting Daniel years ago for refusing to manipulate data during negotiations. "You walked away," Victor said. "I thought you were finished." Daniel shrugged gently. "I chose differently." The advisors confirmed Daniel's correction. The deal, as structured, would have collapsed. Daniel had unknowingly saved Victor from a catastrophic loss. Victor leaned back, shaken. For the first time, he looked at Daniel not as a waiter, but as an equal. "Sit," he said abruptly. Daniel hesitated, then obeyed. Other diners watched in confusion as the power dynamic completely shifted. Negotiations resumed, this time with Daniel quietly guiding the conversation. His insights were sharp, ethical, and precise. Within an hour, the deal transformed into a safer, more profitable agreement. Victor's empire was protected, not by arrogance, but by humility forced upon him. When it ended, Victor stood. "I mocked you," he said, his voice low. "And I was wrong." He extended his hand. "Come work with me again." Daniel looked at the hand, then thought of long nights away from his daughter. "I'll consult," Daniel replied, "on my terms." Victor nodded, respecting the boundary. A generous contract followed, enough to change Daniel's life without stealing his time. As Victor left, the restaurant buzzed with whispers. Daniel returned to his duties, but everything felt lighter. At the end of the night, the manager called him into the office, already aware of what happened. Daniel was promoted on the spot, though he knew this chapter was only beginning. When Daniel reached home, his daughter ran into his arms. He kissed her forehead, smiling softly. That night, she slept peacefully, unaware that her father's quiet dignity had reshaped a billionaire's fate and secured their future. And somewhere in a glass tower across the city, Victor Hale stared out at the skyline, humbled by a man he once mocked, realizing true power wasn't in wealth or status, but in character quietly carried through hardship.